It is time for my Sephora holiday saving events recommendations. If you guys don't know, I put a lot of time and thought into these videos because the Sephora holiday savings event, one of my favorite times to buy makeup. It's something about the air when you walk into Sephora during the savings event that makes me just buy a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that I don't pick up during normal times of the year that I will save to get a little bit of a discount, 20% off, at least if you're Rouge. I will have all of the details down below for the dates of the sale, the percentages. I know you use code SAVINGS at checkout, but of course you can also shop in store also. Now, when it comes to my recommendations, I've been doing these videos for years. So I went back at all of the products that I've tried since the last Sephora VIB event, and I've chose my favorite slash most used products since then. I have multiple recommendations videos that I will link down below that I highly recommend you check out if you're looking for some more inspiration. I even have a recommendations video on like my all-time favorites that no matter what sale it is, I recommend those specific items. So these are a little bit more seasonal, just really what I've been loving these last 6 months since the last Sephora sale that just make me plain old giddy. Now I do also have a holiday gift set video as well for recommending those, because during the holiday savings events in particular, gift sets are the way to go if you want the best value, because typically gift sets are a good value to begin with, and then if you can get an additional percentage off, it's the best time to do that, as well as I just love holiday gift sets. So definitely check out that video. I will have a haul up tomorrow. I picked up a lot of gift sets so you'll see that. But gift sets, while they aren't in this video, there's a lot that I recommend, like the Sephora must-haves, the Sephora favorites fragrance sets, Felispa candle sets. It hurts me not to put them in this video, but just know those are also recommendations in a separate video. And without further ado, let's get into the items that I picked out, starting with foundations. I have two. The first one is from Hourglass. This is the Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. This is one of the best foundations that I've tried all year. I have not liked Hourglass foundations in the past. This is by far my favorite that they've launched, and like I said, it's one of my favorite foundations on the luxury market. Now, I have to be careful. I have a sneaking suspicion that this gives me cystic acne spots. I'm hoping that's not the case, but I feel like I'm noticing a pattern every time I wear this foundation, so we'll see if anything pops up tomorrow. But if your skin is not sensitive, I mean, skin is very personal, so because it gives me acne doesn't mean it's going to give you acne, and I'm not even sure. But like I said, a sneaking suspicion. Oh, my quad is cramping. Holy, I've been working out too much. I need to drink more water. But like I said, I have a sneaking suspicion that this does make me break out. But I'm really hoping that's not the case, because this is the most beautiful, soft, natural foundation. It gives a medium coverage, but the finish, it's not matte and it's not glowy, so it actually is very flattering to the skin in terms of making it really smooth looking. Truly a luxury experience. One of my favorite foundations that have launched this year. It launched, I think, a couple of months ago. Still one of my favorites. The next one that I have, I would say I use it more so on an everyday basis. I think the Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation is really beautiful. Now, it's funny, I love the Hourglass so much, so I have the Hourglass on one side of my face and the Haus Labs, and I think the Hourglass is trumping the Haus because I love the Hourglass so much, but do not sleep on the Hourglass foundation. I think the Hourglass foundation is absolutely stunning. It wears particularly well also. It has a medium coverage. It's just not as like lightweight or smoothing as the Hourglass, but it still is so good. Like I said, I live in Florida. I love the way that the Haus Labs foundation wears. I'm trying to see the difference between the two. I'm gonna have to do a longer wear test to give you what is different from the two, but they both just look really nice, and I've always been very, very happy with how my skin looked every time that I've used this foundation. And I wasn't going to put this in today's video. It's not necessarily a recommendation, but like it kind of is. It's like, I'm just gonna talk about it anyways. I think that the Haus Labs Bio Blurring Loose Setting Powder and this are a magical combo. Both are great on their own, but together, you could definitely tell that this powder was made for this foundation. The way that they mush together is really seamless, and I feel like whatever this foundation lacks, this powder makes up for. So I feel like the Haus Labs foundation isn't as smoothing, but the powder is. So they really balance each other out. I think they're really, really nice together. So I would suggest, not a must-have, but if you're picking up the foundation, I think you'll really enjoy the powder as well. They work in harmony together. I have one concealer. I feel like a ton of concealers have launched, and honestly, I've not been into them. I've just been feeling really disappointed with how my under eyes have been looking, and I was like, am I aging? Like, what is happening? Why are concealers not looking good? Come to find out, I really just don't think I like the concealers that have been launching, because this one came in and stole the show. I purchased this without even telling you guys. It was just kind of a add it to my order situation. Wasn't even going to talk about it, but it is so good. One of the better concealers that I've tried recently, and even in the last 6 months, it's one of the better concealers. This is the Milk Makeup Future Fluid All Over Cream Concealer. I have mine in the shade 9N. This is such a smoothing concealer, and I feel like it doesn't look dry underneath the eyes. It doesn't crepe up or seep into fine lines. Now, a concealer is a concealer. If you have fine lines under your eyes, there's only so much that you can do, but I feel like this works around them quite flawlessly. It doesn't emphasize the dryness or any of the creases that you might have, and it blends out very nice. It has a blend very similar to the Armani Power Fabric Concealer, where it just kind of blends itself out, and it has that smooth, almost liquidy movement as you push it out. This one gives that as well. So random, but my favorite concealer that has launched at least in the 6 months since I've done my last Sephora savings events video, if not the whole year. I really like this. I don't hear anybody talking about it. Super nice. We have a lot of face palettes that have launched recently, and a luxury face palette, oof, they always do such a good job. So you know I'm gonna recommend this. I have to recommend this. I recommend this every single year. The Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Palettes, and these really don't go on sale too often. That's another reason that I've picked a lot of these items. They don't go on sale for the most part, and so this one I had to recommend. Now there are 3 different shades. I have a whole video review of all 3 of these palettes if you want to see and compare, because obviously different skin tones is going to work better. Everybody has their opinion, but if you care about my opinion and what I like, the Elephant is by far my favorite, and this one also is a whole complete palette because it contains a bronzer, blush, highlight, setting powders. It's got it all, and for my skin tone, I find this to be the most complimentary. The blushes are really beautiful. If you've never used an Hourglass powder before, these are the best opportunity to, especially when you can get an additional discount on top. These are limited edition always, and I just love these. Hourglass powders are so expensive individually, so these are a great value because they give you different types of powders from their line, and a lot of which are already in their permanent line, and then of course there also are new colors as well to give those who already own them an incentive to purchase these. But the best, most smooth, easy to blend powder, very flattering. They look great in daytime, they look great indoors, really smooth blur over the skin, the best color. I mean, what else can I say to sell this to you? It's a very, very pricey palette. I'm fully aware of that, but I do recommend pricier items for this event so that you can get that big banging discount, especially if you're rouge. My opinion will never change on these. I don't want to say a must-have because you don't need to have these, but like for me, they're a must-have. Another great luxury palette launch has been from Charlotte Tilbury. I couldn't not put these in, and Charlotte Tilbury in particular is very, very stingy with sales. So that's why this is a really great pickup, because these are not going to go on sale anytime soon, if they even do. If they end up selling out, Charlotte will not ever put this on sale. So this is a great time to pick these up. They are both gorgeous. Now there are 2 different palettes. There is a fair to medium. The fair to medium is what I have on today. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then there also is a medium to deep, depending on your skin complexion. I do have a full review if you're curious about these palettes. I was able to make both work for me. I don't know which one I prefer, if I'm being honest, because I feel like, yes, the fair to medium is more flattering towards my skin tone, but the medium to deep has more versatility, let's say. you'll have to see my review to see what I mean. But the fair to medium is a little bit more pinky, whereas the medium to deep has more coral orange to it, as well as, you know, those depth differences. So on my cheek today, I have this nudish Pillow Talk blush on my cheek. It's kind of pulls a little bit peachy, very pretty, very smooth blend. I have a little bit of this highlight right here to bridge between the cheek color and my highlight. This does work as a highlight for me, but it has a little bit more pink, so I like to blend it in with the blush to create an additional glow. And then I have the highlight on my cheek. Now, overall, nobody does a glowy complexion product quite like Charlotte. So if you like a glowy cheek, I think you will really enjoy these. These are my favorite face quads that she's ever launched, if I'm being honest. Normally I find there's inconsistencies with 1 or 2 shades in the palette. 1 or 2 might not be as usable. A solid 4 products in these quads. So I think they're worth the value, especially with the additional discount. And if you love the luxury experience, you love a glowy cheek, you love a pink poppy kind of cheek, you will enjoy these. They're gorgeous. So that's all I have for face items. Let's start moving into the eyes. Now I will have palettes, a lot to be exact. So I'm saving those for the end, but we're gonna do everything around that, starting with the brow product of 2022, in my opinion. I've heard good things about this, but not enough for how good it is. This is single-handedly the best brow gel that I've ever used. This is the Too Faced Fluff and Hold Laminating Brow Wax. Now this is intended for fluffier looking brows. If I'm going for a natural brow day, I'm not going to use this, but this has a way of thickening my eyebrows and directing my eyebrows exactly where I want them to go and staying all day. Every time I use this brow product, I'm having a good brow day. I don't know how it manages to make my brows look so thick and fluffy, and look at this. They don't go anywhere. So I feel like with some laminated kind of brow waxes, they will either like fall throughout the day, so then I kind of lose that fluff, or they just don't give that thickness and direction and separation to the brow hairs like this one does. So I've actually had to like fight off my inner demons with wanting to only use this because I have a lot of other makeup to test. But this is so good. You kind of have to get it. If you like a fluffy brow, you have to try it. I have one eyeliner. One thing that I've been really into this year was brown eyeliner, and I love this shade of brown in the One Size Point Made liquid liner in Busty Brown. So I enjoy the formula of this a lot. Lasts a long time, doesn't smudge. Is it my favorite liquid liner of all time? No. Love the applicator. I think it's a bit too long for me, but I can look past that because this is my favorite brown liner. If you've not tried brown liner, seriously, give it a try, especially if you're a neutral girl. This will change the game for you. It's not quite as intense as black. It's something different, but it still gives you that definition and sharpness to the eye, especially if you use this as an inner corner wing and then also wing it out on the outer part of the eye. One of my favorite colors of brown, because it's not so dark brown that it almost looks black. It's a true mid-tone brown, and it also isn't too light. So you can still use this brown color even if you do a darker brown eye. It's not too light and it's not too dark. It's the perfect tone as well. It's a great formula. Change it up a bit. Try a brown liner. I've been loving that. I've tried some game-changing products, if you haven't been able to tell, and this is one of them. I almost just put this in a giveaway box, and I'm so glad I did not, because it is so good. This is the Tower 28 Make Waves Mascara. Now, it means a lot when I talk good about a mascara, because I don't consider myself to be the best judge of mascaras. I have very short, sparse, thin eyelashes, a lot of mascaras that people love. I don't love, and that's because I don't have much to work with. This is one of the few mascaras that I feel like I don't need to wear falsies. Now, of course, I'm wearing falsies today, but for natural makeup days, this gives me length, it gives me volume, and most importantly, it gives me lift. For some reason, this mascara takes my eyelashes, which I'm not exaggerating, point straight down towards the ground and lifts them, which brings my eyes to life, makes my lashes look much longer. This is everything I want a mascara to be. and I'm picky when it comes to high-end mascaras. There's a few that I enjoy, but I feel like I can get a good $5 Essence mascara worth every penny, so buy one or two during the event. Moving on to lip products, honestly, I don't have a ton of lip products. I feel like in the last few months, I've been really just enjoying affordable products, lots of color pop. There's been lots of great lip oils that have been coming out from the drugstore, so not an area I've been focusing on, but I do have a couple lip liners to recommend. The first one is from Sephora Collection, which if you don't know, during this event, Sephora Collection is 30% off, so I wanted to mention some lip liners that I really enjoy from them. Now, I have two colors. There's this really light pinky one in Midday Rosé. I don't love this one. I think if you're really fair, you'll enjoy it, but my all-time favorite one is Nothing But Nude. I used to use this in my bridal makeup kit, literally just as a lip color, not even as a lip liner, though I would use it as a lip liner too. This is a very creamy lip liner formula. It's not going to be super long lasting. I would say like my Pat McGrath lip liners, but I love the versatility in these in that they still do have a decent lasting power and you can use them all over the lips. They have an endless range of shades. Don't hold me to this, but I would say these are probably my favorite product from Sephora Collection, and I just think 30% off is a really good deal, so I wanted to recommend those. And then the only lip pencil I've been using the last 2 months, pretty much, has been the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in Anywhere Caffeine. This was really, really popular a couple of years ago, and then Hailey Bieber used it and flown off the shelf. You can't find it. I believe they did recently restock, so if you can get Anywhere Caffeine, it's my favorite everyday lip liner, though they do have colors kind of around it depending on your skin tone you might really enjoy. They have a lot of really great nude shades, so whatever your perfect nude is, I feel like Makeup Forever has it. This Anywhere Caffeine is my favorite lip liner. They have a deeper shade that I also very much enjoy. It's a drier pencil, which I actually prefer. I feel like it lasts longer, very versatile, because I also really enjoy Boundless Bisque, which is a lighter color, and I've been talking about this for a very long time. I use this to clean up under the brows. I'll use it to brighten areas, to clean up my wing, highlight. This has a lot of purposes. You don't need to just use these as lip liners. You can use them wherever you would like. They last a long time. And again, the best range of colors. Such perfect nudes. And finally, before we get into eyeshadows, this lipstick has been my favorite everyday lipstick. It's fairly new, so I don't even know that it really deserves a place in my recommendations, but I want to throw it out there because I really have been reaching for this 90% of the time, which that's a lot for me. This is the Merit lipstick in the shade Baby. This is the perfect everyday nude mauve pink for me, in my opinion, which is a lip color that I've been going for a lot. It's a really comfortable formula. The packaging is very luxurious. If Merit was YSL, I wouldn't be surprised if they had come out with this packaging. It's pretty heavy, really, really sturdy, glides open really, really nicely. A stunningly hydrating formula, very long lasting, and this shade Baby in particular, super nice. I've recently tested a lot of Merit products. I've been enjoying a lot of them, but this one is the one that I keep going back for. Okay, are you guys ready to get into the eyeshadow palettes? Now, nothing tickles me more than a good eyeshadow palette, and so I had to recommend, of course, all of my favorite eyeshadow palettes because eyeshadow palettes can be on the pricier side. So this is a good time to get that eyeshadow palette that you've been wanting. I have some older ones that launched around the time of the last Sephora sale, and then you gotta get the limited edition holiday palettes if you want them before they're gone, right? So of course I have some very, very predictable items, but I think I might have recommended this last Sephora sale potentially. It's a pricier palette. You might have forgot about it, and I just simply wanted to do the favor of reminding you because this is a palette that I've been using since the launch. Not a ton, but for me a lot. This is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 eyeshadow palette. I've been into the pink rosy looks, particularly in the summer. And this is just all around a super solid palette, very easy to create quick looks, really simple. If you want a makeup look that's going to look good, that you don't have to put much thought into, this is the way to go. It's a very monochromatic palette, so if you don't like rose, you won't like this palette, but if you do like rose, this is a really good palette. I mean, I don't really have much to say other than it's a really good, gorgeous rose palette. These shimmers on top are stunning. very easy blendable mattes. If you like the color story, this is a pricier palette. This is a good way to go. Another one, I would go one or the other. I don't necessarily think you need both. But again, an older quad, came out about 6 months ago. Still loving it, still using it. The Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams. Can't believe it's still on Sephora. I thought they would have taken it off. A really solid Charlotte Tilbury quad, which disappointed because Charlotte Tilbury didn't even come out with a eyeshadow palette this holiday season. So I have no other choice than to recommend this one to you. But the mattes, buttery smooth, extremely pigmented, very easy to use. The shimmers are like luscious. They are amazing, super metallic, very thick, creamy, but don't crease. Really great, easy, rosy style quad as well. Again, if you don't like rose colors, you won't like this, but I love that one. Kind of the last older palette, which will bridge us into the new holiday palettes. You're gonna have to go with one or the other. The Nouveau palette from ABH. Oh, it's still so stinking good. Even after these few months that it's launched, still so good. It's a modernized, the new revamped ABH. Phenomenal quality. Now, ABH did also just launch the Rose Metals, and I did want to talk about this one as well because this one is really great. It's not my favorite of the two, but I wanted to talk about both since this one is a nice new one. I am not attracted to this palette for some reason, but I've created looks that I love with this palette, and this palette is definitely a lot more fall appropriate, which is why you might be more tempted for the Rose Metals. So if you want kind of the grungier sister, Rose Metals is really great. I can't say anything bad about the quality. But I do actually prefer the color story of Nouveau a little bit more. It's a little bit more fresh to my eye, but both are really, really great. So consider getting one or the other if you have been considering it. Maybe this is your little push off the edge. Personally, in my heart, I feel more comfortable recommending Nouveau because I like it better. But don't forget about Rose Metals because that one is also very, very nice. On my eyelids, what I have right now, I have to recommend the Huda Beauty Empowered Palette. Now, in my review, I talked about this. This is not my favorite Huda Beauty large palette that has come out. Naughty was great. Last year's was really, really nice. But this one is still a really good palette, and I still will be wearing it. And it still is very pricey, so it's great to get this one on a discount if you've been wanting it. I mean, I am wearing this palette today, and you can't tell me this isn't a gorgeous, smoky, glowy kind of look. So regardless of it being my favorite palette or not from Huda Beauty, it still is one of my favorites that I have to recommend. Predictable, but I couldn't not. So to get today's look, I started off with Big Dreams in the crease. It's just a really nice, cool tone, grayish, a little bit of purple in there. And then I used Winter more so on the outer corner. Has a little bit more of a true gray turn to it. I thought we'd really cool it down a little bit with this shade. It's a really simple look. Then I went into Confident, which is a dark purple. Kind of winged that out, blended it in the outer corner, added some definition to the look. Kind of blended it along my lash line as well. And then the last thing that I did, super simple, the shade Bold Moves is such a beautiful shade. Really thick, really creamy, spreads so nicely all over the eyelid. Gives this gorgeous glow that you see. I have it all over the inner half of my lid, the inner half of my lower lash line. It's a gorgeous palette. I needed to recommend it, okay? I had to talk about it. You know it exists. It's stunning. A palette that's kind of similar in terms of look and color story. Natasha Denona My Dream Palette. You know, it's funny because I talked about this one again. Not the most exciting launch from Natasha Denona, but one I'm going to reach for a lot, one that's really great quality. This is a newer item, so it's a great way to get a newer item at a discount because I do believe her next palette is going to come out kind of mid-November-y, around that time after the Sephora event. So there will be a new one, but if you want the most recent one, the My Dream Palette, it's really gorgeous. It has a little bit of resemblance in terms of like purples and golds to the Huda Beauty palette. But again, this one is just really great quality. I love Natasha Denona as a brand. I love Natasha Denona's quality. So if you've been wanting this one, it's a pretty good deal. And I find her midi palettes to be the best value from her brand anyway. So they're still pricey, but 10, 15, 20% off. This one is a good one. I have a whole video reviewing it. I have a video doing different looks with it. I've had a lot of, not fun. I was gonna say I've had a lot of fun with this palette. Not necessarily fun, but it's been one that I've been comfortably reaching for a lot, which at the end of the day is the most important part. Am I using it? And yes, I am. And the very last one, I was debating whether or not I wanted to add this in because if I'm being truthful with you guys, when it comes to Pat McGrath, I don't really recommend that you pick up Pat McGrath during the event because Pat McGrath has a lot of sales. But with this being limited edition, potentially you might not get it on sale. I'm not sure. If you want to wait it out, totally understandable. But if you've been impatient with this palette and you just want to have it, at least get a little bit of a discount on it, right? This is the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership Mega Celestial Nirvana palette. This is her big new holiday palette. It is bright, it is colorful. It is not for the faint of heart. If you do not like color, do not get this palette. I have a lot of other great neutral options that I recommended prior to this. If you do like color, if you want to expand your Pat McGrath collection with tones that are not boring, this is a good one. I've had a lot of fun with this. I've been able to create a lot of different looks. There's a lot of versatility in this palette. And honestly, as somebody who, if I were not in this field, this career field, would I buy this palette? No. It's very colorful. Would I be more tempted to do so during this certain Sephora holiday sales event, whatever savings, yada yada? Yeah, I definitely turn my head because this is really beautiful quality. You get a lot of shades in here that Pat McGrath has never come out with. And it's a really good palette, but if you don't like color, and you're not going to grab for it, then don't pick it up. That one, then I don't recommend that one for you. But anyways, those are all of the items that I picked out for this season's holiday savings event from Sephora, as well, like I said, of that video that I also talked about the holiday sets that were my favorite. But I think this sums it up. These are just like the greatest products from the last 6 months that I've been using from Sephora, and I love them. So I say this selection of products is really great, but I'm biased. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If there's anything that you think I need to pick up during the Sephora savings event, let me know down below because I know I will be making multiple trips. So make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel and like this video, and I will see you tomorrow with more Sephora content. Bye guys, have a good one.